ticket.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's bring it back to Joe. Let's talk about
I was
Joe.
thinking that too, Joe. You're saying your schedule's super busy this week?
Yeah, I do. I do poker broadcasting over the internet mostly, sometimes on television, although it's all pretty much moved to streaming at this point. And yeah, I'm working on a couple of different things. Now that you can do it remotely, I would have had to turn one of these two jobs down, but one of them is happening in Australia and one of them is happening in Canada.
Oh, take the Australia one.
Well, I'm just doing them both from Las Vegas.
Was that too long ago?
It was too long.
Was that a meandering story when I talked in around 8 seconds there? You just checked out around second number 7.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I deserve that. So
it's not the most interesting anecdote. Yeah, I'm doing like a couple different tournaments remotely. And so it's led to me basically having like 2 24-hour days in a row.
What is the business model for a professional poker player? I've wondered this, right? People have told me that pool players don't make their money at big pool tournaments. They make their money fleecing guys who think they're good at pool. Does the same thing happen in poker? Is that where the money is made? Go on.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's that, there used to be sponsorships and stuff like that back in the day. It doesn't really exist anymore because of the legality of online poker in America. So that sort of thing of them becoming celebrities isn't really a thing anymore. That used to be a separate revenue stream. But yeah, you're right. It's going to Las Vegas and playing against people who have money, who think they're good poker players, and also playing against all the other pros that live in Las Vegas too, thinking you're the best. But that's mostly how these guys make a living. Some of them are tournament pros. But again, it's the same thing. It's, they're facing big tournament fields of guys who are in the exact same position they are, excellent poker players. So you've got to have, now there's plenty of bad poker players in those as well, but you got to be able to beat the bad players, but also you got to fade a lot of the good players too. They're your competition as well.
Is there money to be made in playing against professional poker players? Like, I would think that would kind of break even over time.
Well, that's a completely logical thing to think. Lots of people think that way, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's flawed thinking, but the people who are playing think the opposite. They think if they have a 1% edge over you, that over time that 1% is going to mean that they're going to get all your money.
That also makes sense.
The math checks out.
And most of them, I think they have much greater than a 1% edge over you, or whoever it is they're playing.
Well, over me, sure. But over each other, that might be tough.
The best players in the world all think that they are the best player in the world. So, that's why they approach that situation.
So who do you think is the best player in the world?
It's not a thing you can say one name.
Yeah.
Because there are different people who are better at different things. And because luck plays a huge factor, there are people that absolutely go on hot streaks. But there's a guy right now named Alex Foxen who has been on top of the tournament world for the last 2 years, which is virtually unheard of because it's so hard to win tournaments. He just finished second in the $100,000 buy-in tournament I was covering last night. So he's way up there. And then you've got, pros who maybe aren't always crushing the tournament scene, but they play really big buy-in events and get a little bit more, they get a little bit more recognition. The famous poker players, they're still very good poker players, but they don't have to tour as much because they do have held on to that little bit of fame. They do still get sponsorship deals. So guys like Daniel Negreanu obviously are still at the peak of that industry, even if they don't play as much as everybody else.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of cash game poker, watching those. So
same. And I think playing tournaments is fucking torture. It is not fun for me. And I like watching and playing in cash games a lot better. It's just a totally different vibe. Tournaments are so serious.
Yeah, well, I mean, cash games can get very serious too. People get, the ones I play in or have played in, we're just right on the edge of violence occasionally. When I say not me, but the others,
of course not,
can definitely get there.
Yeah.
There's insults thrown on the table, and these are grown men who are like, this isn't someone who's being like staked 100,000, 70,000 of their 100,000 from one guy and another 10 from another guy, and they're in this thing for $5,000. This is all their money. They've showed up tonight with $20,000 or $30,000. I don't mean it's all the money they have, but all of their money is their money. And so if they lose $20,000, which is not at all unheard of, they're steaming. They're steaming.
What do they
That would
have
ruin
to
my
be,
whole day.
What do they have to be mad about? I mean, none of us like losing, but do they feel
Well, there's
like
bad beats in poker. There are situations where you've literally outplayed your opponent, and yet due to just blind luck, he beats you. And what's more frustrating is not just being beaten by luck, but being beaten by stupidity. It's like, you shouldn't have done the thing you did. You did that thing because you're bad, and you're being rewarded by luck for being bad, and you're beating me, who was smarter and just less lucky than you.
I feel like
that
that's
can
a
really
you
steam
problem,
somebody.
not a me
No,
problem,
it's-
right?
I mean,
How is that
it
different
is-
than bluffing? How is that different
It
than
is a you problem in that one isolated moment, right? Because you're just supposed to roll with it as a poker player. So there are times that you will be a 90% favorite or a 95% favorite, and you will still lose. And those moments will drive you absolutely crazy, especially if you don't have an unlimited bankroll, so that the other 99 times you're in that situation, you win at 94, 96 of those times. A lot of people, they don't see the long run, they see just the short ones. So when that happens, you lose that 1% chance. It's maddening. Like, it can really drive a person insane.
Yeah. My dad was at the poker game the other night, and he was relaying to me the next day when I saw him what happened. He was like, some guy had lost a lot of money, like $40,000 of cash.
Oh.
And he was sitting there
Oh.
clearly steaming, and he's out of money, and it's time for him to borrow some money from somebody. And he makes some remark like, y'all motherfuckers don't even have enough money to loan me what I need to play this game. And somebody else, Billy, I'd loan you anything you needed. Shut up, you little punk. I'll whip your ass right here. It's just like, this guy's steaming.
Dude, Billy sounds like a
I would have
So
preferred
there's-
to agree with him. Like, yeah, at 40 grand an hour, I don't know how long I could keep up with that. You're onto something.
No, I definitely am not. See, I'm a bit of a joker. That's my whole thing. And I wouldn't needle people in that particular situation. People are like on the brink right then. And they're basically saying to you, like, I'm at the edge right now. Like, I'm throwing off warning signs, like the thing in Jurassic Park with the flappers coming out around its head.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah,
He's
then
like,
it
I'm
shoots
ready to spit.
Newman.
Yeah, and I understand it. Like I've
It's
never lost it.
emasculating too to lose. It's like you just, it's embarrassing. Like, you get
Yeah.
stacked and then you have no more money, and it's just a horrible feeling. And I find that most of the time in the world where folks get mean, it's because they feel bad about something.
Yeah, I used to play a lot of cash game poker. I really love it. I can't play at the moment for a lot of reasons. But yeah,
You know, is it one of those reasons an ankle
I'm on
bracelet?
federal probation. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, big fan of cash game poker. I love that. We started out playing like I don't know, like $50 buy-in tournaments with maybe
Don't
100
admit to
people
a
in.
crime, please. Here.
Oh, he's already served his time.
Statute of limitations. Don't worry.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Like,
But-
this
but-
She's
guy's not right.
yeah, that
But
girl's
cash-
old enough now.
That's
Yeah,
not
that
what
works.
it was.
No,
That's how it works. That's how it works.
Yeah, wait, once she turns 18, it becomes legal.
Yeah, that's the statute of
Jesus
limitations.
Christ.
That's the Jerry
That'd be the
Seinfeld
dumbest
method.
legals.
Yeah.
That
Oh, yeah,
is
well,
the
he did
Jerry.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
he
was
was
like, she was legal when he started it. She was like, but it was
No,
very
no.
borderline for a
Oh,
40-year-old
you're
man.
right, 'cause she was
in New York,
17. Yeah.
she's 17. He's like 40.
It was the kind of legal where you still side eye him, where it's like you're 39 and you're dating a 17-year-old. Like,
Yeah.
what
but-
can
but-
you possibly have in common?
She could have been 16 and
She-
still
yeah.
been legal. That is the
And
age.
that
in
would have
New York-
been fucked up.
No, that's legal
but
too.
17. Oh, it is. I don't know.
Yeah, at 16. So in New York, and we looked it up. If I don't use me as your
You
attorney,
probably
but
did.
at 14, you can consent to up to 4 years. So if you're 18 and she's 14, check the birthdays. At 16, she can consent. Period. So that
Okay.
17-year-old dating Jerry Seinfeld, legal.
I would have dated Jerry Seinfeld.
New
at
York. Who knew
17.
New York
I
was
would
the
still
Europe
date
of-
Jerry Seinfeld.
Now-
Am I the only one?
The
funny.
13-year-old Carl Malone impregnated. That's not okay, but somehow it's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that story.